Summer is officially here, but don't get any wise ideas like taking a vacation or actually going outside. We're obviously kidding, but seriously, there are some great games to play this month. Though admittedly, not as many as usual. We'll never fluff our content, and we take our recommendations seriously, so we've chopped this feature down to 8 picks instead of the usual 10. We'll never recommend games half-heartedly, so here's a smaller, but still awesome, rundown of the games worth investigating in June 2024. It seems like it was another life when Destiny 2 launched way back in 2017. Back then, games as a service were a novelty, instead of something driving every creative decision in the video game industry. Since then, Destiny 2 has been a wild ride that bucked more than a few fans right off it. It's gone years bogged down by the meta that only its most hardcore fans can even understand. But it's swinging back around for the rest of us with the final shape. This expansion is the culmination of the Light and Dark saga we've been following all along. So expect returning characters you'll actually recognize if you've fallen off the wagon over the last 7 years. It sells for $50, so it better deliver a satisfying conclusion. Many don't realize it, but cross-platform play between mobile and consoles is extremely difficult. Only Fortnite has managed to really pull it off. Until now. Star Wars Hunters shares more than a few similarities with Epic's smash hit. It's a free-to-play, third-person competitive shooter with a cartoony look. While it's thoroughly basted with Star Wars sauce, you won't find the IP's most popular characters on the roster. Instead, you're able to mix and match parts to create the Jedi, or Sith, of your dreams. Its 4 vs 4 design with claustrophobic maps keeps the intensity high. And if it's a hit, we're very confident it will be coming to more consoles in the near future. Monster Hunter Stories is an excellent turn-based RPG that was buried when it was initially released for 3DS and mobile back in 2017. With so many games being released for Nintendo's handheld at that point, it was lost in the mosh. But now, it's getting a second chance with this remaster that's coming to PC, PS4, and Switch. If you're familiar with Monster Hunter, this is nothing like it. While you do battle creatures, this time they're on your side, and you take turns doing it. This game is also far more story-driven than its big brother, and has a far less serious, more whimsical tone, while still feeling eerily familiar. It's a lost gem that we recommend. When the studio behind Everybody's Gone to the Rapture and Dear Esther makes a new horror game, we take notice. Still Wakes the Deep is a slight departure for the Chinese Room, a studio synonymous with the walking simulator. This time, it's produced a far more active, first-person horror game that takes place on a haunted oil rig out in the vast loneliness of the ocean. No one can hear you scream over the pounding waves, but the danger runs much deeper, as the dilapidated rig is crumbling and presents its own environmental challenges. Who, or what, is lurking in the shadows? We're excited and completely terrified to find out. Elden Ring is the consensus game of the year for 2022, but now it's 2024, and we're finally getting its first, and probably last, big chunk of DLC called Shadow of the Erd Tree. By some accounts, this expansion is almost as large as the base game, and for $40, it better be. But more importantly, this is a big test for the Souls-like subgenre. The sky-high review scores convinced a lot of curious people to finally take the Souls-like plunge and buy Elden Ring. But did they ultimately enjoy it? DLC sales are notoriously low for most games no matter how good they are, but Elden Ring is one of the few true sensations from the last decade. A word of caution though, if you struggled with the base game's difficulty, From Software tends to turn it up even more for its expansions. You also need to defeat Moog and Starbreaker Radon in the base game just to play it. Monster Hunter Stories isn't the only JRPG that got lost in the shuffle on a Nintendo handheld. The same thing happened to Shin Megami Tensei 5 on Switch. Released at the height of the Switch's software output, it's reviewed well, but its sales have failed to match. Atlus is trying to fix that by adding a ton of content and re-releasing it for PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch with a new subtitle. Easily described as Persona without the whimsy, this turn-based RPG follows a group of high school kids in Tokyo who decide the fate of humanity by channeling the power of demons. It's an intense game that was already lengthy, and now it's even more so. If you look for value from your purchases, this is a great choice. Back in the early 2000s, Super Monkey Ball was one of the biggest franchises in the industry. Its self-explanatory, simple concept make it fun and accessible for players of all ages. It even had cool merch like all the biggest franchises. The concept has never really evolved much, and so it's fallen by the wayside, but Sega is hoping to rekindle the love with Nintendo players when it launches Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble exclusively for Switch. Up to 4 players can play through its campaign together as they attempt to find 7 artifacts that will lead to the legendary banana. Or up to 16 players can compete in online competitions utilizing the brand new Spin Dash move. You can also customize the cute critters to your heart's content. If you miss this franchise and want to see it continue, roll out your wallet for Banana Rumble. One of the bigger disappointments of the 3DS is Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. It's not because it's a bad game, it's actually excellent. It's because it was released for the woefully underpowered 3DS instead of a more powerful console. That gets rectified with Luigi's Mansion 2 HD for Switch. It's a complete rebuilding of the game with all brand new HD visuals, as Luigi must collect the missing pieces of the Dark Moon, vacuum up every goal in sight with the Poltergust 5000, and save Evershade Valley from a ghastly invasion. New features include some tweaks to the map and a new online multiplayer mode called Scare Scraper. Luigi's Mansion 3 is one of the Switch's best looking games, and this one is running on the same engine. This one deserves to suck up some dollars. That's it for our rundown of all the games worth considering in June 2024. While this month's show is a couple entries short, rely on Sifted.net to fill in the blanks and introduce you to your next favorite game. You tell us what you like, and the site delivers you a custom feed of content from your favorite sites and creators. If you like what we're doing, head to patreon.com/sifted and give us a pledge. We'll see you in July for the next Dossier.